Well, hello again. This is Tim Moore with Lamb Lion Ministries, still at the National Religious Broadcaster Convention. And today I'm here with our old friend Kelly Shackelford of First Liberty Institute. You all know Kelly as a tremendous lawyer who's made great impact for religious freedom in America and is fighting on that forefront all the time. Kelly, thank you for sitting down with us today.
Happy to do it.
Well, obviously, there are many things happening on the legal front. Just lately, the Supreme Court made a tremendous ruling regarding religious liberty. So catch our viewers up with its impact for all of us.
That was a Supreme Court decision on Fulton versus Philadelphia. It was a Catholic really group that placed children with families, and really the leading group placing children with families. But then the city decided that they would not allow anybody to work with the city anymore if they believed that marriage was between a man and a woman. So here's this group that's really the one providing most of these children with homes, and then they asked them to basically violate their Catholic beliefs, which they couldn't do. And this went all the way to the Supreme Court, and I think to a lot of people's surprise, it was a 9-0 opinion. The idea that you have a religious liberty win against LGBT that's 9-0 is, I think, maybe a first. Now, there are people that wished it was broader. It sort of avoided a big issue. There's a bad case that's been in place for 30 some odd years that's really done a lot of damage to the free exercise clause. And it was teed up in that case for that to be addressed, to possibly overturn that old precedent. They didn't need to do that to rule in favor of the Catholic group. They didn't, and so that's now saved to another day. We think our Coach Kennedy case very well might be the case that brings that issue up. The court has already said to us in the Coach Kennedy case that they think that might be a good vehicle to address the free exercise clause issue. And so while we wish it would have been stronger, we're happy to get a 9-0 victory. And we're also feel really confident about the future with the court we have and the judges we have on the courts.
Well, I know that Justice Alito made a commentary, one of his writings regarding this particular judgment, that he wished they had addressed that bad case that you referenced and been bolder in terms of bringing back the priority of religious freedom. But we take it as a win. And I think one of the things that you recognize first and foremost, you said we still have work to do. Eternal vigilance is the cost of liberty. And at First Liberty Institute, y'all have been eternally vigilant, at least as long as you've existed, and we are so grateful that you remain vigilant. What's the next thing on your horizon that we as believers need to be praying for, or people need to be attuned to in our current culture?
Well, there's a lot of things to really be praying for. I mean, we've got a lot of cases. If folks aren't on our list, I'd encourage them to get on the list so they can see the different cases and pray for these individuals. We just had a new case against the IRS that just happened in the last couple of days. That is a really dangerous case, what the IRS did to this Christian ministry. We have 2 cases that the Supreme Court is about to decide whether they're going to take or not that involve some really big religious freedoms issues. But one I would say that everybody, could people look, what can I do in addition to prayer? Is there something I can really do? There is a unique situation right now where people can actually take action. And that is, there's an attempt going on right now to what's called court pack. Court packing is when you add justices to the Supreme Court in order to get to the political results you want to get to. And when a party in power does that, if you look at other countries, you don't just sort of move the court, you really destroy the rule of law and you destroy the independence of the judiciary, and you really don't come back from it. I mean, this is what Venezuela did in 2004. This is what Argentina, Chile, you see it throughout history. And yet there's an attempt to do this. Now people might think, surely it's not going on in the United States. Yes, it is. The president has issued an executive order creating a commission to reform the United States Supreme Court. A bill was then filed the next day to add 4 justices to our Supreme Court. This is something that people need to speak up about. We've created a website. We think this is a coup on the Supreme Court. So we've created a website called Supreme Coup. For those who don't know French, it's COUP, supremecoup.com. And people can go and get all the history. They can get memes they can share with their friends, educate their friends. but there's an action center where they can actually take action. This commission has asked for the general public to comment to them as to what they want. And so there's an opportunity right now for Americans to say, we cannot do this to our country. And the majority of the country is with us. It's about 2/3 of the country is against this. But as they get educated, it increases. So it's a great chance where, you can educate a lot of other people that don't know this is happening. The deadline for commenting to the commission is August 15th. This commission is just going to issue its report November 11th or November 15th. This is all going to happen or not happen within the next 6 to 8 months. So I would encourage everybody to be a part of this. Go to supremecoup.com. There's a take action button where they can be involved and make sure they're educating others and communicating their beliefs, because religious freedom is no good if there are no courts. And so we were working on our religious freedom cases, but when we saw what was happening here and realized how dangerous it was, we realized we've really got to dedicate some serious resources to this, because this is the most dangerous thing we've ever seen in our country with regard to coming after our courts and our judges.
Well, obviously, the impact is broad beyond just the cases that you think about, and even the ramifications of cases like the one the Supreme Court just settled. In Kentucky, our governor, in anticipation of a change in the law, had banned a Baptist placement agency, an adoption agency, from having a relationship with the state, our new very liberal governor. And so he was just anticipating a change in interpretation by the current administration in Washington. And obviously this case will give him pause to be acting in such a manner, because the city of Philadelphia got slapped down. But how critical it is that Christians act as salt and light in this country, instead of just bemoan the slide toward ungodliness that we witness. We need to step out and speak up and be salt and light by reaching out to our elected officials, by supporting groups like yours, by supporting First Liberty, and staying informed and engaged.
Yes, it's a key time. We're in a very unique time in our country's history, and whether we go one direction or the other is going to depend upon the courage that people have to speak the truth. And if as Christians we can't speak the truth, there's really very little hope for our country. You look at the history of all these totalitarian countries, from the Eastern European countries that lost their freedom and then actually gained it back. What you see is why that happened is not a majority of people, but a significant number of people started to stand up and speak the truth, even if it cost them. And that's our job as believers. And so this is our time in the United States. People need to stand up. They need to do their part. And if so, I think we can turn this country around. I mean, there's some incredible things happening in the courts because of the judges and the justices who've been appointed for religious freedom. We're seeing a great trend. We think that'll be very positive for the future, as long as we can stop the court packing. And so that's the next 6 months, 7 months. If we can really dedicate ourselves to that, I think every American is about to have more religious freedom than they've had in their lifetime, because of the direction we see things going. We just got to take care of the short term and we'll be good.
Well, Jude says that we must contend earnestly for the faith, and the faith impacts every aspect of our lives, every sphere of human existence. So now is the time, if you're watching this program, for you individually to contend earnestly. And so, Kelly, I'm so grateful that you are contending earnestly. And so, Counselor, appreciate your counsel and your wisdom, and the fact that the Lord is blessing so many and impacting our society, our culture through you.
Well, thank you for what you're doing as well. God bless you.
Godspeed.